Ladies and gents, welcome to Suji Reaction, and this is a bit unusual. I don't usually react to videos like this, but I feel like I'm in a unique position to talk about this topic. I used to own a Harley-Davidson, as most of you know. Then I sold it off, yeah, and then I bought now Ninja ZX-10R, the super bike. So I love my Harley, right? It was awesome, but even though it had a few issues here and there, fuel leaking and shit like that, the body was corrosion was setting in. It was just, yeah, so there was an issue, but those issue was minor, I guess, for me at least. Other people would see that and like, what the fuck. For me it was minor, but still, it was a Sportster old style Harley. So I sold it off because I wanted a super bike for a long time, so I bought it. So I guess whatever he say here, I guess I will know a thing or two about it, so I guess we'll see. This is the video why millions buy Harley-Davidson motorcycles by the channel FortNine. I've seen FortNine videos. He's great at talking about things like this. So yeah, let's watch this one.
Old, crude, broken.
There are many people, many that even I know of. Whenever talked about Harley-Davidson or even in here, local Royal Enfields, the classic bikes, they see these corroded off strips when they see these bikes, and they're like, "Why the fuck would I buy this?"
But where some see death, millions see holy ground.
True, I confess no love for Harley corporate. Those Wall Streeters are killing the brand and Jason Momoa's soul. But that's why I buy the motorcycle, not the stock. It isn't a patriotism thing either. I'm not American, and frankly, neither a patriotism thing.
Look at that. There's a plant of Harley-Davidson in India. I didn't know that. Huh. So why the fuck are those things so expensive here? I mean, it's more than twice the price, I think. If I want to buy a Sportster, it's like, what, 11 lakhs? I don't know what that translates into. Maybe $13,000, right? No, more than that. Yeah, about $15,000 or something like that. If I want to buy Sportster, 15,000 multiplied by 70, yeah, that's more like 10 plus. That's how much I have to pay if I want to buy Sportster. Fat Boy is double that. I mean, that's more than double the price of Harley-Davidson. So if the plants are in India, why are there so many duties and things like that on top of it? It's just fucked up.
Either. I'm not American, and frankly, neither are some of the bikes.
The reason I buy Harleys, along with 200,000 people a year, is the sound.
It's an
Feel
awesome sound.
and style.
Unsatisfied? Good. It's a bit like asking a master sommelier why this Chateau Lafite is so special and being told the taste. Well, duh. Break it down for me.
See, when you tell anyone about Harley-Davidson, people always laugh it off like, oh, I could buy, I don't know, just more cheaper, more Japanese, a sports bike type thing, which is more reliable, more faster, more smoother, and everything. So why would I buy this? It's not always about efficiency, right? It's not about getting the job done, going point A to point B. That's what people always debate whenever talk about it. It's about feel. It's about what you like and don't like. I mean, there are people who buy SUVs, lots of people, but they always ride it alone. I mean, why? Because they like big cars, not because of efficiency. So why do people whenever talk about Harley-Davidson, they talk about efficiency? Like, why would you buy this when less price than this with better mileage? You can get some plastic bike here and there that is more smoother, doesn't make so much of a racket, and its cheap parts are cheaper. You can maintain it properly. Why wouldn't you buy that? It's not always about what's on the paper about efficiency. It's about the feel, the sound, and everything. So, whenever you say something like, I don't understand, yeah, it's like, asking somebody, why do you like certain kink in your private times in your bedroom? Everybody has that different kinks. This is a weird example, but that's the only thing I can think of. Everybody has that different kinks, let's just say. If you explain it to somebody else, but people will be weirded out, like, why would you like that? But everybody has different things. You can't really explain it, and people will not understand it. This is kind of similar. People like different things. If you like Harley-Davidson, you like Harley-Davidson. How are you supposed to explain that? I like the sound of it. I like the heaviness of it. I like the metal body and everything. I like the torquey engine and everything. I'm a rarity that I like Harley-Davidson. I also like super bikes like Ninjas. But, people are usually divided in that front, and people are always confused. People like, why would I buy that plastic, that plastic aluminum body super bike which goes really fast? Why would I want to go fast? And the same thing with super bike. Like, why would I buy something so inefficient, so loud, so something that vibrates so much? It's not easy to explain.
The Harley thump, turning heads across the block and sales across the world, wasn't always a selling point.
No, it's not always about the South Park episode. It's not always about that, like, if people notice you or not. It's not about that, right? I know people have this mentality, like, all the thing about Harley's sound is just people noticing you. It's not about that, all right? You like the sound, you like the feel. When you're riding good enough Harley, and you're riding with some kind of a custom pipes or something, the sound that it rumbles at the distance throughout the woods. If you go in a mountainous area, it rumbles at the distance. There's a heavy bike under you. You can feel it. You like it. It's an experience. It's a ride. You can't put it on paper. You can't explain it like that. It's not always about if people notice you or not. All right, if you buy a cheap 200cc bike and remove their silencer, that will be loud too. But it's not about just being loud.
Early bikes were marketed as silent gray fellows, appealing to inoffensive gentlemen who wanted something clean, oil-tight, and so silent that it cannot be heard across the street.
Well, that's different. And today's pipes turn the suburb into a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth. But then again, this was a tiny single. It wasn't until Harley switched to their iconic V twin-cylinder that they made a sonorous mistake. See, two pistons rotating one crankshaft is a pain in the ass. It kinda necessitates two individual crank pins. But Harley and the Davidsons are poor, so they say screw it. Well, let's just mount them on one pin, just like that. And if the cylinders are 45 degrees offset, then the firing order will just have to be 45 degrees offset too.
Giving us an engine that goes bang, bang, pause, bang, bang, pause. And that is only half of Harley's lazy serendipity.
Two cylinders, we kinda gotta figure out how to spark one plug and then the other. But again, no money, screw it. Let's just fire both plugs together. So when we're combusting this cylinder's power stroke, we're also sparking over here, burning some unburnt gas and a little pop. Now instead of bang bang pause, we have bang bang pop, or as became famous for driving...
See, that's the best thing about it, all right? The inefficiency of Harley-Davidson like that, because they were not really rich and doing all this cheap shit, created something that became iconic, that became art. That is what art is, right? If you buy the best material and best everything, go to a lab and tell somebody to make a perfection art, that's not how art works. Art usually revolves around tragedy, right? Mistakes, using oil paint that you can see all the, non-smooth colors here and there. You can't create art in a lab. Mistake and, problems like that comes out with, not always, but sometimes, like case in here with Harley, comes out with a great signature iconic thing that it became Harley's sound, bang bang, pause, pop, that kind of thing.
Forth the lamentations of women and children. Potato, 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 potato.
A sound so distinctive, Harley tries to trademark it in 1994.
Damn.
Unsuccessfully. To the knowledgeable ear, this exhaust note is full of meaning and history, but it gets a bad rep. See, anyone on a Beamer is used to hearing clockwork, bang, 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 bang. Pull alongside a Harley going bang, bang, pop, and it just sounds like the engine is struggling to idle, like it's dying.
Hence the myth that Harleys run bad.
First time I started my bike like that, I was literally concerned, like, is there something wrong with the engine? Then I realized, wait a minute, this is the signature of it. Whenever somebody, if you never rode a Harley and don't own one, usually the Harley sound you hear of is not the idle sound, all right? Listening to the idle Harley from near, it kind of feels different, right? So the first time I was like, is there something wrong with the engine? No, that is how the engine sounds.
In truth, there's nothing wrong with potato. It's what the engineering is supposed to sound like.
A shift in perspective, and sacrilege becomes sacred. One thing about 45-degree V-twins, they're almost impossible to counterbalance. Cue the jokes about this being nothing more than an expensive vibrator for old men to tickle their prostates.
See, our single crank pin V-twin has the pistons moving mostly together, and it's basically the one-cylinder problem.
As the piston goes up, we swing our counterweight down. When the piston goes down, we swing our counterweight up.
Congratulations, we've perfectly balanced our engine. In one dimension, because half stroke will have our weight swinging forward or back completely unbalanced. Balls. All we've done is convert our up-down vibrations into fore-aft vibrations.
Which, uncoincidentally, is how a Harley shakes. Looks rougher than a peg-legged ballerina until
when you
see her dance.
See, fat Harley pistons weigh 600 grams and move 18 meters per second at 5,000 RPM. I converted to metric. Our oversimplified model lets us apply conservation of momentum or energy up and down. You'd get a whopping 10.8 Newton-second kick in the plums. Your motorcycle doesn't otherwise move up and down, so you'd really feel that. But Harley's counterbalancing converts to fore and aft, meaning the piston's impulse is diluted in the normal momentum of your motorcycle cruising down the road. You can't feel this at all.
The result is glass smooth, though the motor still has the weight and road stability of a half-track. It feels like a force of nature, as steady as gravity, as long as it's moving.
The misconception that these are idiotically imbalanced paint shakers comes from people using them wrong. And if you buy one to sit on and rev your engine, absolutely, it's an overpriced vibrator.
But if you buy it to ride it, you'll feel how these motors are engineered to be ridden. Harley's higher calling than the primal sin of shaky motor.
Yeah, so the vibration thing is a big thing that I hear about people complaining that, I like my super bike because it doesn't vibrate like Harley-Davidson does. That's just inefficient. Always the point comes out is inefficient. Why would you have that? Why wouldn't you pull the best thing out of the vehicle and the technology you can? That's understandable. This is a technology. This is a mean of transport. Understand your point, but nobody rides Harley for that reason. Harley is a different thing. People drive it, ride it for feel of it, right? How it feels when you ride it, the sound and everything. It's not about efficiency. That's the only thing here.
Harley styling. They say you either get it or you don't. putting us on a collision course with the old mantra, if I have to explain, you wouldn't understand. What a silly idea. It insults your capacity for comprehension and makes me seem like an idiot who can't explain anything.
But not really, like I explained before. You can't explain your kink to somebody would be weirded out. This is similar thing. You like it, that's how our brain works, right? Everybody likes different things. Sometimes they're literally opposite thing from somebody else, and they would be like, okay, we are same, we are human, yet you like something completely opposite of me. That's how our mind is. We like something that is different. Somebody sees this bike and see the, all the classic look of it, the thick bike, big ass tires and, that thrumpy sound and everything, and just, cruising. That the concept feels like, yeah, this is what I want. Somebody sees super bike, see the marvel of engineering, that engine that revs extremely high, that goes extremely fast, aerodynamics and everything is just perfect. Everything about that is efficient and there is no error, and they like that just because it's a marvel of engineering. I like both of these things, but people might like one thing or the other. It's not hard to, it is true. If I were to explain, that is like, if you're asking me to explain it, if I explain this like this, you still be like, but I don't like that. Yeah, because you shouldn't. Everybody's taste is different. You like other thing, not this. It is what it is.
Let's tell two stories so anyone can understand the Harley style. Our first begins in 1960 when Harley is overrun by an invasion of Japanese bikes. In the 70s, a bowling ball company saves Harley from bankruptcy, yet makes some predictably heinous machines. Then in the 80s, Harley buys itself back, blobs protectionist tariffs against Japan, and uses the blast fallout to retool into a competitive, then dominant market force. To Harley's mind, this is the greatest beatdown since the Pacific War. So to celebrate, they launched the 1988 Fat Boy, a gunmetal gray, yellow striped amalgamation of...
There you go, the pinnacle of big-ass bike, the classic Harley, because of Arnold or whatever. That's the most signature Harley that people can think of.
Fat man and little boy.
Yeah.
The gunmetal gray and yellow striped atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing 200,000 men, women, and children.
Well, shit. Even in the...
I didn't see that coming from this channel, but goddamn, I've never thought of it like that because I didn't want to. But yeah, those bombs killed all those children and everything. Ah, fucking hell. Look, the point of the matter is at the time, all the people who bought Harley-Davidson in the United States were more like, flyover states who are most of conservative, right? And these states are like, pride of United States, like, might of United States is nuclear weapons. So let's name a bike after that just out of pride, not because, how many people they killed. They weren't thinking that at the time. Today, everybody, when they see Fat Boy, they don't think of the bombs, right? They're probably just like, oh, that's a Fat Boy because it's probably fat. It's a big bike. People make up things like that in their head. They don't think of the bombs. That's just effed up though.
80s, that was poor taste.
Making it nigh unbelievable that Harley still produces the model in 2021.
See, only issue with this Fat Boy I have is the lights, right? They should have kept the classic, classic fender and with the light in the background rather than making more chopper style. This is Fat Boy. You could have made chopper any other bike like Lowrider or something. Fat Boy should have been more classic style.
Uses the model in 2021.
Okay, remember that while I tell our second story.
Once upon a long time ago, there was the Dyna, characterized by its rubber-mounted engine and twin shocks.
Oh god.
A combination that is occasionally, but honestly, deadly. It's called the Dyna Death Wobble. See, rubber-mounted engines shake a lot. So you need a noodly frame with lots of free space around the engine. And go around a corner, this and this will twist, but independently.
Holy Mary, Mother of Joseph!
Exhibit B, twin rear springs. And whatever swing we want the swing arm to have, our shocks need to be about that long, meaning the recovery time is also very long. This magnifies a fundamental problem in that no two springs are identical. And say this one is a bit softer compression and this one a bit slower rebound. If I hit a bump, and this side will travel further, twisting the tire like that. Then that side rebounds slower, twisting the tire back again. Holy mother.
Oh god. Slow motion edit, yeah. Oh, poor guy.
The weirdest part is that Harley knows how to fix this. And they've been doing it all along with the Softail. You just hard mount the engine for a tauter frame and use a linkage with a shorter shock,
giving the suspension shorter reaction times and more uniformity. But even still, Harley continued making the deadly Dyna for decades.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what the Fat Boy and Dyna stories tell us is that Harley is pathologically resistant to style changes.
Faced with the most legit...
Harley isn't. That's the issue. It's the buyers, right? I mean, V-Rod was awesome, but it wasn't your classic Harley with the classic engine, right? That's people just didn't like it. Even though it was an awesome bike, people just didn't bought it, and it had to be closed down, I guess.
Legitimate reasons to redesign, they don't. Riders deride this, myself loudest, but there's one side effect we should appreciate. See, car drivers can no longer buy vehicles like this. As they became untimely or unsafe,
awesome.
cars were relentless.
I don't know what happened around 90s. See,
as they became
this is great.
Untimely
That's even more awesome.
Or
Then the close to 90s started and it just became weird. People still see this as fine, but I think it's a massive step down from the previous design.
Safe.
And oh god, this is proper 90s, right? 94, 95, whatever, it's just weird. It's like a toy car. What is this shit?
Cars were relentless.
Now we've approached 21st century. It's trying to get a bit better, but still the same. There you go, 2010s, fine.
Designed into what's available.
And this is current times.
Today. But the motorcycle industry is different. It keeps classic options. If you like this 1969 Electroglide,
Not motorcycle industry, Harley does that.
You didn't shell out 100 G's for a resto build. Just buy the 2021 model. The trouble is that freezing a model line for 50 years gives your followers generations to grow attached. No one cries when Kawasaki updates the Ninja because they do it every 3 minutes, but Harley folk...
Actually, I love it. I was waiting for the new generation of Ninja, and then I bought it because it's so great. It's new technology and everything. But that's the thing about Superbike. You wanted the best of the best. In technology sense, in efficiency, in everything, the latest technology. That's not the case with the Harley, right? In any sense, Harley is not good on paper. Performance, efficiency, mileage and everything. Even the commuter, people say it's good. No, it's not a good commuter. It's a heavy ass bike. It's hard to commute, right? But it's just Harley. You like it, it's like a thing that you have that you like. That's it. It's like, the really rich people still have horses and they ride it somewhere in the countryside. This is similar to that.
Freak.
Closed-minded. That's the Harley style, but also a necessary consequence of keeping time capsules in our market.
Is it any wonder that sound, feel, and style always brought us back here?
See, what makes the Harley Trinity seem old, crude, and broken to the uninitiated is what makes it holy to the faithful.
Yeah.
Our opinions are doomed to stay this polarized.
At least we can all know that there are loftier reasons to ride a Harley-Davidson.
how Indian makes 43% more power than Harley. Yeah, the engines are not the same as Harley. That's why. Even though they are great, yeah, not. That's like, jumping between Superbike and Harley, the middle option. Indians are great too. I rode that. It was good. But like I said, I used to own Harley. I sold it a few months ago. Then I bought Ninja. I didn't want to sell it, but it had issues. Like I said, maybe the newer version of the Softails, like Fat Boys, Lowriders, does not have that issue with the Milwaukee engines. I'm gonna buy one Harley again, so I'm not really a former Harley owner. It's like I'm in hiatus. Let's just say I love Harleys. I love the feel of it and everything. It's a great cruising bike. I mean, I love my Ninja too. Everything about it. The moment you started that engine, the efficiency, the sound, the inline 4 engine and everything. I love that. High rev engine, just cutting through the highways. It's just awesome feel. And I also love Harley feel too. I'm a rarity. People are usually split between two. And yes, it is true. If I have to explain to you, you would understand. It's the same thing like I said about if you want to explain your king to somebody, they will be weirded out. They wouldn't understand. This is the same thing. Everybody likes different thing, right? There are people who like to jump from the plane and, just, do that. And parachutes and everything. Some people like, why the fuck would I do that? It's different for everyone, let's just say. So yeah. Alright people, that was Y Million by Harley-Davidson Motorcycles. Even the number is shrinking. Nobody knows how much Harley is going to survive. Especially in India. I think in India, I don't know if I'll be able to buy in the future because of how costly it is. If people are paying 10 to 12 lakhs for a Harley and they get us, a sport bike, there is, that can be beaten by, 3 lakh rupees bike. That's just weird. And then they realize that, wait a minute, I paid more than twice in India. Even though there's a plant in India now, I don't understand that. So if they, bring down prices in India, maybe people will start to buy more. But at today's prices, people are going to be split. I'm going to buy it because I love it so much. In the future, I will buy it. So yeah, I'll probably buy a lowrider or fat boy. Yeah. Alright people, I'll see you next time.